computer. I will look at it later. Great.
Perfect.
Great. It's all happening. Technology is working. Wonderful.
Oh, it's so good to be here with you.
I'm very happy to be here with you. I want to introduce to my friends on Facebook and those who are watching us, going to be watching us on YouTube, my friend, Dr. Norelyn. Norelyn probably will talk a little on her own about her work and what she does. Would you like to say a few things?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I am a clinical sexologist and an intimacy coach. So I have a private practice based out of Sacramento where I work with individuals and couples on all things related to intimacy, and that's emotional and physical intimacy as well. And I also weave in some plant medicine to my work, and I'm also a sexological body worker. So I really love getting into juicy somatic body-based practices. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
And today, right now, we are going to share with you what is going to be happening in the retreat that is coming up on May 17th. It's a women retreat. We have right now 5 spaces available still, but it's happening this Saturday. So if you are looking for time to drop into your body, to connect to your spirit in this grounded way, and you're looking for a space and support to do it, this is really a good opportunity. And this is what we are going to be doing right now. We are going to be diving more into the program, going over it. And we were talking about before going live that we will talk about our inspiration and our why behind this work. Why did we create this? And why do we plan to do more of this? So I'd like to start. Some of you might not know me. I will just say that my name is Dr. Ira Kotlik. You can read and look more at my website, encounterland.com. By the way, below this live, you will see there is a first comment and it has a link. That's the link to go to the landing page to read, so you don't have to remember what is happening in the program as we are talking. You can just go and see and register, and there is more description of what I do. But I will just share one thing that since I started studying for my doctorate here in California, doing my clinical psychology training, very early I knew that I'm going to be working with people differently. I knew I'm dreaming and I'm going to create a retreat center that is embedded in nature, that is in forest, that I'm going to be living there, and that I'm going to be inviting people to come to connect to themselves on a deeper level and to their partner on a deeper level and heal. I really very fast understood that we need certain conditions. Our consciousness, our body simply needs certain conditions for the wisdom to be revealed. That we don't really need that much someone else who will do something onto us as to have container where we are going to be able to understand and to feel and to experience the beauty and the wisdom of what truly being an embodied consciousness is, the individuality of it and the beauty of it. And here you already see me talking about my why. Um, but I want to take it now specifically to this work with women. I have been very blessed in my life to be unapologetically honoring to the gentle soul, the gentle feminine that is living here inside of me as my essence. And that gentle feminine wanted to live in this whimsical way where it's almost like from very early, somewhere kind of subliminally, you would say,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
knew that I manifest what I desire by the state in which I exist. And I have been connecting to my sexuality very early. I had my first orgasm when I was 5 years old. And that was such a powerful, energetic experience. It was literally union with God. I knew God is real because he went through me when I was that little, and everything was light and joy and this incredible sense of equilibrium. And so that took me little by little, culture that we live in, we all know it. We can smile on Facebook. We know how to put a certain facade. It took me a long time, working with people, knowing what happens when people come to me and what I see, but what we see on social media profile, right? And we all do it, of course. We all do it. That's just a part of the social fabric that we exist in. But for this work, I understood that so many of us are not living in a way that is conducive to experiencing our body and our sexuality as something sacred, as something that is a wise teacher beyond anything else. It's almost like each one of us has this personal God, goddess guide that only what is needed is for whatever we call us, I, the self, to connect to this wisdom that we are literally being one with, but not noticing, because the culture for hundreds of years has been such that body is not important. We created duality, then we created hierarchy. So the mind is on top, the body is, you just use it and abuse it, and it's okay because it's yours. And then we are surprised why we see still so much enslavement in the world. Well, we need to change it here. So for me, this work is very deep. It's not just um, you personally as a woman through the practices that we are going to be taking you and through the container that we are going to be creating for you. You're personally going to be connecting to your pleasure, to your wisdom, to what it means to be with yourself as a lover, with the lover, or as mind lover, with the body lover. What it means to really take your mental energy, your focus in this way, to dance and weave together with the soma. I believe that you're also going to be in this work changing the collective fabric. That's my why.
Ooh, what a powerful and beautiful why. I felt it listening to that. And the two of us have been in conversation for a long time now, at least 5 years. And so this is a really special coming together of these conversations, this culmination of your professional background and also your essence of how you move through the world. And while a lot of what you just shared deeply resonates with me, I do have a different story. I have a different story with my sensual self and sexual self. And I've recently come to this observation and realization out of this academic space. I've been working on my PhD. I got my doctorate in clinical sexology. I'm a certified sex coach. All of these things, I kind of was this forever student. Like, I'm not going to be ready until I get this and this and this and this. And I added all of these things. And then I got to this point where I'm trying to build my private practice, and that was going well. And I realized I personally was now living neck up. I was not practicing what I was preaching to my very clients. And I thought, wow, I need to reset. I need to drop into my body myself. And I didn't know how to do that yet, to create this space until really I met you while working at a spa in Sacramento at Asha Urban Baths. And while that was meant to be this kind of side supportive gig that I was doing, The gift of working there was being in on a daily basis a container, a sacred space that was created to hold people that wanted to do some self-reflection and connect to the elements. And they could connect to water in that space. They could connect to, I would say, fire through the heat
The
of the
sauna.
sauna.
Mhm.
hmm And really drop into the body because you have no choice. You have no choice to drop into the body when you submerge yourself in water. You have no choice to drop into the body when you're in temperatures that the sauna provides or the cold plunge. I started thinking, okay, I would love to create this space. And I didn't have the physical space until I was invited to Encounterland, which I don't know if you mentioned the name yet of your
I
space.
didn't, not in this
You
life.
didn't.
No.
And it's such a beautiful, beautiful location where you can experience a sauna. And I'm gonna, I know I'm trailing off, but let me go back a little bit to my why. I've I've been working at a women's health clinic, a women's telehealth platform called Maven. And I have to work in these quick 30-minute appointments. And they're coaching intimacy appointments where a gynecologist may have sent their client over to me. And the anxious client has this concern that they're bursting to tell me about. And maybe they're already on the verge of tears and they know they have 30 minutes with me. And they're looking for the answers. How do I fix? Because I am broken. Where did my libido go? Where did XYZ go? Why isn't my body working? And all of the language in their pleas and their requests for help, underneath it is this language that something needs to be fixed. So the first step often is, as well as I can in that 30 minutes, create this container where they can just share freely. And I've started bringing in the word sensuality more and more. And I ask them, what does that mean to you? Because they've come to fix their partnered experiences with intimacy. And then I hit them with the question, well, what is sensuality to you? And then I see their eyes go blank. They go, well, I know what it means to be erotic, and then it goes back to this partnered experience. And I go, okay, well, what about sensuality outside of the intimacy with a partner? What does sensuality mean to be in your own body? And that's where I'm like, okay, I need to create a container where other women can come together and share their stories instead of being in a silo alone.
And
So,
if I may, it's just such an important point. When we think about sexuality and eroticism, we naturally think about the other and the partnership where the exchange happens. And it's this revelation that woman A thinks that she is broken because she doesn't feel sexual with her partner is a symptom of something very painful happening also in the world where women are free to choose their partner. But as long as we still have this idea inside somewhere, sometimes again, not seen, not noticed, that I have to shrink myself and I have to adjust myself, and to be in the loving relationship with someone means that I have to do these things. This is where the detachment begins to happen, to the point where I feel like I freeze, right? What is this blank? I freeze. Why? Because the body holds trauma. Because if I go into, and this is what I notice, when we go into this more intimate relationship with ourselves, especially in the nature, where you realize how much the natural pace of life is actually very slow. And then we begin to, so it's almost like resurrecting this relationship to yourself and getting more rooted in this love making, listening to yourself and honoring your boundaries. So that's where, why it's so beautiful and important that you take this women and their awareness to them, to your body, because the sensuality is happening there. The sex is already happening there. This juicy,
Yeah.
erotic, flowing. You just kind of disconnected and you didn't come back yet to where you would be able to touch yourself to, and not even before the touch, where you can sit and just let the wind caress your skin.
Mm.
Take the cup of water where you don't rush, you don't try to solve other problems or you do other things, you have to complete. No, it's just you and the water and the way it feels and fills you up. So we can actually go, I think, over the program. And the link again is in the comment below if you want to, later, maybe you are now doing something or your kid is calling you and you're about to do or brunch or I don't know, you can come back. The live is going to be staying here on Facebook, and the link is going to be taking you to the registration and to the whole program. But let's go and describe what we are going to be doing and again, how it's going to be helping our beautiful women to reclaim the lover, the body.
Yes. Yeah, and I want to tune into the word slowness that you just used. And this is what we've wanted to create a space, a container where you can be slow and to move at a very calm pace and allow yourself to fully drop in and connect with land, which Encounterland is very, very beautiful space with manzanita groves. I attended a full day retreat last November. So I am speaking from a place of experience of having gone through this myself. And it's just such a treasure to have built this specific program alongside you. So, yeah, we're going to start in the morning with a beautiful grounding ceremony to drop us into the space and commit to one another that we're creating a container where conversations can naturally bubble up if we feel, or also kind of just linger in silence as well, just in the shared space.
Yeah.
And
It's very, again, we don't realize, but when we come to a new place, our senses and our mind is usually scanning and trying to understand, okay, what is this place? Am I safe? Even if we are not thinking about it, it's just something that again happens somewhere in our psyche. So I'm planning to have a herbal tea from the herbs that I'm growing here. I have a few different types of lavender and rosemary and all kinds of herbs that I actually intuitively make a blend for each group of people or individual or a couple that is coming here. It's a meditative process for me where I'm trying to connect on a soul level. Okay, what are these people are going to be most nourished and what is kind of the plant medicine um, that they need right now. So we are going to be drinking tea and sitting. I think we will start outside at the meadow, not at the meadow, by the sauna and hot tub, because then we are going to be continuing there afterwards.
yes, oh, and there's nothing like a sauna, cold plunge, and hot tub that's completely outdoors. Completely outdoors in the fresh air. So I got to experience you walking through the group of a ritual of sorts. Well, you're using the word ceremony. Can we also
Mhm.
use the word ritual here in terms of
Sure.
the pattern?
Hmm.
You have a suggestion of the order to kind of take your body through these three different sensations and temperatures, and also continue drinking the tea. And this is where we lay the groundwork of opening up from the sensual body and first really dive into that word sense. When we take sensuality and break it up, what's the root? Sense. So we can really tap into those elements, fire and water, through that sauna ceremony you're going to take us through.
It's very simple the way it is built here. So you're also going to have an opportunity to be with your feet on the ground as you step out in and out of sauna and cold plunge. So we are going to be having sauna, which is this circular barrel. It's a barrel essentially that I really love because creates very safe, very nourishing, very kind of a sense as if you are inside of the womb because you're literally in this cylinder space. And when we sit with other women, either naked or wrapped in a blanket, or if you have to use swimming suit or whatever, each one and their needs and boundaries, it's all welcome. I personally really like to do it naked because it's just the feel of this union with the moment, with the
Mm-hmm.
winds. And I also find so much medicine in sitting with other women and seeing that, well, first of all, we are so universal. It's just there is nothing to really be ashamed of. This is our bodies. This is yeah, I can kind of trail off on what so many patriarchal religions have done to our connection to healthy relationship to our bodies, and it still lives in us, and so many of us that we get kind of tense around it. And then there's also going to be a cold plunge, and there's also going to be a cedar wooden hot tub. So it's also water, it's also fire, it's also earth that you're going to be standing on with your bare feet. And it's also wind, air. So all the elements are coming together, and the space and the structure is such that you are going to be really asked and invited to be very present, to be observant, to claim your attention to yourself. This is why I right away want to say that this is little less kind of designed for you to connect with each other. It's designed in a way that each person is going to be going inside of them, which another thing that is we are not having, I find, kind of enough in the social arena, that we can share space, but not in a way that we extend ourselves
Yes.
too much, or we have to listen to somebody else's stories without any say, because it's not polite to say, wait, I need my attention to me. Right?
Yes.
That's where we are going to be kind of encoding into the nervous system that experience that we can share space, we can be together. And we know, we are present, we are together, but we are also very much each one within the self.
I'm so glad you mentioned that component, because along with the scanning you mentioned earlier, when you arrive to a new space, we're scanning our location, scanning just to see, where am I going to put my belongings? Where's the safe corner of the room? If there's other people there, we're also extending out, kind of, oh, who's somebody I'm going to introduce myself to, or oh no, somebody's coming towards me to, introduce themselves to me. What do I say? Or when we have to answer the question, how are you? Sometimes that's like a loaded answer, and we come up with these stock responses. I'm busy, blah, blah, blah. But it's takes more to kind of dig into a response. So in this space, it's going to be very gentle acknowledgement that there's others here that are going to tune in, but it's very much designed to be inward and not have to connect or do exactly what you just said. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, we'll have an opportunity. You'll see how the natural flow. I did few of this, and there is a natural flow that, you know, you first connect a little because it creates safety
Mhm.
for all of us. Then each one
Yes.
goes, through the structure and practices. And this retreat is very structured. You pretty much will know and be guided what to do in each portion. Something I also learned with time that people really need this, it's conducive to self realization and connection that there is a structure. Because initially I was like, just kind of feel yourself, kind of
Yeah.
doing practices, but more open, more kind of trying to have consciousness hold and go. But I wanted to mention something else here. Oh, that there will be moments like around lunch at the opening and the closing when we will be hearing each other and we will be connecting because
Yeah.
it's a natural process when you do this work of going deeper inside of you, that there is a certain moment when you feel saturated and then you need, to process. This is why usually these different circles, they will start and they will end with some kind of a closure where if you feel that you need to just have this, conversation, it's there for you. And lunch is another good time. That this is what we are going to be doing after sauna. Um, I'm going to be
Beautiful.
cooking.
And the lunch. The lunch is amazing. It's so amazing. I can't wait for you all to experience that because there's something really sacred about teas made from the grown on the property, bread that's handmade. There's just something really magical about dining together at a table, unplugged, no screens, and weather permitting, yeah, outside on a beautiful patio, feeling the sun on your skin while you're eating. Again, another place to anchor into one of the senses. So after lunch, I'm going to take everyone through a meditation inside. And I was really excited to put this meditation together because I'm somebody who has trouble visualizing. I don't have a very vibrant mind's eye. And I noticed that I didn't have a vibrant mind's eye when I was trying to do some trance work and I was having conversations with people like, are you actually seeing what the meditator is, the guide is describing? And some people would say, oh yeah, I can see it in extreme, exquisite detail, and others across the spectrum. And I've done a lot of reading on this because I've noticed I happen to be, and this is just how my mind works, there's nothing broken about my mind. I used to think, oh, something's missing. It's just that my brain is oriented in a different way. So if you imagine this visualization on a on a spectrum, I'm over here and some are over here. So what I wanted to do with this meditation is weave in some body-based elements so you don't need to visualize, but you can tap into the body. And I wanted to also create a meditation that taps into the sensual body. And I don't want to give too much away, but here's a little teaser. I really want us to explore the sensual architecture within. And I think that's all I'm going to say about that because it's really juicy and really anchored into the womb space and our sensual architecture.
When you say this, I will share something. Because I'm sitting right now outside, so I'm not alone. There are butterflies, there are bees here in front of me, drinking from vetch flowers, from lavender flowers, landing on rosemary, going forward because there are no flowers. There is a wind, there is sun. And as you've been talking about it, and I absolutely agree with you, you see what Norelyn is going to do, and in general, these practices, you can't really describe it. You need to experience it. It's not because it's not, as you say, neck up.
Yeah.
It's where mind meets mystery. And what I wanted to share is that the moment I started to attune, and even when you started to speak, I was like, maybe we should do it outside and not inside. We'll see what we decide. Because what happens to me outside, tuning deeper into my sexual body, is that I realize that the wind, and I say it, and the wind begins to grow stronger. Everything begins to move. It's really this incredible serendipity, and eucalyptus that I'm making the bunches for the sauna with is also kind of moving in front of me. The experience is that, oh my goodness, my sensual body is this, is then all of this. So that's one part.
I
And then,
mhm.
of course, you know, yeah, maybe I will stop here too because there is so much just to experience, and that fills me with actually a lot of hope, with a lot of hope for the human affairs and the realization of what human is.
I love the idea of perhaps moving this meditation outside because something that struck me my first time at Encounterland is when you are silent and that far away from the main roads, the first layer is almost like a, have you heard like the phrase silence is deafening? Like that level of silence at first is like a shock, which seems the opposite of what it would be at first because sound, right? But we have so much the cacophony of sounds all in all spaces that we move through. So you land here, wow, it's so quiet. And then it doesn't take too long, but maybe after 20 minutes of moving in and out of your space, you begin to hear the trees and the rustle. So when the breeze picks up and you hear the trees, I can just imagine that being the soundtrack to the meditation. Yes. So
And then we are
after the
going,
meditation, oh,
right, and then we are actually going to
yeah,
go to our manzanita tree, the great
yes.
grandmother manzanita that I had so much insights, and not only me, I've seen other people. At a certain point, it really moved me because I saw that people began to leave crystals and stones at the base of manzanita, and I was like,
Mm.
it. Yes, yes, yes. People are like that. That in itself say something about some universal experience that we are having, when we encounter a tree, and tree has a presence, just like as a human. They have their vibrations, they have their um, act, they have their act. So we are going to go there and we are going to journal so that all that um, realization that you achieve during the meditation and the experience can be integrated when we journal, when it's almost like after lucid dreaming. It's encouraged, if you want to remember your dreams, to wait as you come out of this realm, to write it down. And this way you weave the dream life and the actual life together, which means that you're able then to almost like soak and pull the dreamy into the now and attune. You can learn, or you can learn from the dreamy what is it happening? Or maybe what am I worried about? What am I concerned? What am I yearning for? And work with the, yeah.
And if you if you don't consider yourself to be a journaler, and I only say this because I give prompts to my clients. I ask them first if they are a regular journaler or a poet or they keep a diary. And sometimes, because of this narrative of like, well, I don't journal, I don't know how, or I'm bad at writing, I hear all sorts of things. And I go, oh, well, this is not for anyone else to read, first of all. This is just for you. And I just wanted to say that I will provide some reflective prompts for anyone who may hear the word journaling and go, I don't know where to start. So I will bring that into this space as well, um, if that calls to you.
And then
And
we're going to be finishing our process. I think we will let people opportunity to kind of wander and just have their time, just them and the forest or the hammock, whatever calls to you, the tree or the hammock. And then we will invite people to come back for snacks. It's going to be already around 5:15 p.m. and we will wrap it with the sound bath.
what a way to close this out. The sound bath.
That's something I think also maybe to talk a little about because it's something I think a lot of people did not really experience. There are some people, of course, who experienced it, who understand, um, who know the effect of it. What was it like for you when I was doing my sound bath? Because I think that for people who are into it, they always want to know, they know that the energy of the person who is doing it is really something that is working with the sound. It's not just the sound that the crystal. So first of all, there is a sound that the crystal balls are creating. They are mine are set to 444 hertz frequency. Uh, that I prefer on the 430, the other one, I think 430 something.
Yeah, 430. I think so.
Um, the number four, I can again go onto the symbolism of it and why I chose those. And we are also on the ground that is rich in crystal quartz. So the ball is made from quartz, and the ground is also filled with quartz. And that crystal in itself has its energy and healing, incredibly healing potential. Um, what was it like for you?
Oh, what was it like? It really drops you into the body. It dropped me into the body. And I was really in awe of how I could feel the vibrations in areas of my body I didn't expect because I definitely have gone to my fair share of clubs and concerts and raves, and like I think of sound, if you feel vibrations from music or live music, even a live band, at a small cafe, you're going to feel it impact you. um, but because of what I understood sound bowls and sound baths to be from listening to recorded tracks like on Spotify, sound bath, I knew conceptually what it would sound like, but I didn't know what it would feel like in person.
That was your first
That
one?
the I had done one maybe a decade ago.
Oh, wow.
So it had been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And that long time without going to them regularly, you forget. And I
Right.
knew yeah, so about a decade ago, I had done one. And I remembered it as a really beautiful experience. So I was excited. Yes, I get to have another one. And in these, it's something very common for me to do if I do want to do a guided meditation at home by myself. I will choose a playlist on Spotify that has these bowls. So I thought, oh, okay, well, this is just going to be cool because it's live. But this is where the trick happened. I did not remember how intensely a bowl in person can travel through your body. Because I thought, well, how can it? It's not enhanced by a speaker system. It's not. So, wow, if by the time I got to the sound bath portion, right, after dropping in into these different ways, I was so primed and juicy to receive and this sound experience. And um, yeah, it's really hard to describe, except that it was powerful, it was moving, it was surprising to feel it. I keep wanting to use the word travel. It went to places in my body that I didn't expect because I felt like instead of just listening with my ears, I was listening with these more, I don't know, different sense organs that I didn't know could respond to sound. I don't know. Can you make sense of what I'm saying?
Yes, because the vibration physically, so it's a physical experience. It really enters everywhere, and it almost like massages your every cell, essentially. And these three bowls, they are according to three chakras, to the center, to the heart, to the mental center, to the heart, and to the bases.
Mhm.
So as they are played in a certain patterns. Again, it's very intuitive. I'm staying present with the group, with the room. We also have to say that the room we are going to be doing it, this practice we're going to be doing for sure in the room, because I realized how it really
Yeah.
holds. There is this kind of a roof and it has wood covering on top of it. So something about the acoustics of this space I already noticed is very conducive for the sound, and it also has huge windows. This is actually the window of the living room. So you're still surrounded by the forest. You still see the bark and the ground, and the butterflies, but you are inside the room, and the sound is working differently when it's enclosed. Um, yeah, so I feel like now is probably a good time, maybe what's coming up for me. To mention the price. I just really want to address it straightforward. The price for this
Yeah.
experience for the entire day is 250 per person. And I had over the time I had conversations with people, luckily some people who were brave and honest just to lay it out there and say, this is really expensive. But I want you to think about what you get in terms of the mainstream medicine when you go to doctor's appointment versus what you're going to be experiencing out of all this day that I described. And of course, it takes work to buy the food, to make the food, then to work for the entire day and to make it available to a small group of women. So the way we came to the price, we were sitting together and talking it through, trying to understand, okay, this is what we want to create. This is what it entails. What feels right in our bodies, given all the expertise and the time, and still feels like if I was a woman who is receiving it, I would be like, oh, hell yes, that's absolutely rightful. Because when I'm as an experiencer going to the experience, now I'm taking it to the larger existential level where everything is me and all these are different parts, and we are here engaging in a healing, in a collective healing. I am here, the consumer, the customer. And here I am a leader, a guide. What do I want to see manifest in the world? How do I want people and women who are doing this work to be reimbursed? Do I think it's rightful for these people who live in a certain, right? It's different if you live in Poland, for example, where prices are one way and life cost is one way versus when you're living in California. So that's something that I wanted also to share and to address because I know it's there in the field. We were talking a little bit with Norelyn before that I realized that the misogyny is not, it has many different faces. It has terrible, brutal faces that are very straightforward, where women don't have their freedom and they clearly are just being born into societies that hold them as hostage. That's just how the culture is. It holds a woman as hostage and does onto her whatever, the man decides, be it her father who decides to marry her or ship her, her family, or then her husband. That's one, part. But then in what I find in the free world, the way it is expressed is that the sensual, the gentle, um, is something that is being looked or overlooked completely or disvalued, looked down at. Oh, what is this? Like, oh, you know. So the way for us to change it, and we've been talking about it with Norlene, the way for us to change it is this, is really holding the two aspects of the self, the one that is receiving and the one that is giving, and trying to feel and listen what's rightful. I don't know if you want to add something to that.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're addressing this, and I'll add a small thing, and I think it's that sometimes when we're considering an activity, um, an activity that we're interested in, it's framed as how long it lasts, and we forget the trickle down effect. And I'm telling you that when I had my experience in November, I could feel at the women's retreat that I attended, not as a co-leader in any way. I was 100% receiving um, the nourishment of the space. And for weeks and weeks after, I would get waves of my subconsciousness tapping into something it needed. Oh, the
I
fireworks.
love it. Oh my goodness, Norlene, it's so beautiful. I don't know, Zoom gets more magical, I guess. You see, it's the power of the whimsical, the power of sensual.
Yeah. And I felt those fireworks, let's say, weeks and weeks later in moments. And I was reminded, oh, you know what does my body need right now? I need slowness. And it was through this experience of a full day retreat that um, I just could feel the reverberations. And so, yeah, I invite people when they're considering um, an event like this, a retreat like this, that it's not just the day of. It's well, it's a gift that keeps on giving to your nervous system, weeks and even months later, especially when it's done in a container with others, because I feel like we magnify a bit each other's experience.
Yeah, I think that what happens when you see other people, first of all, you just see people who get this, come together, or at certain stages of getting this, but you find, in a sense, your tribe in some way. That's one part. And the other part is that you understand you're not alone. You're not this outcast. You're not this like super sensitive, weirdo person, as sometimes the society around projects onto you. You realize that no, it's happening. We are awakening. We're connecting to the self. We encounter, why did I call it Encounterland? Because I was envisioning that this land is going to be the place where people come to encounter that self that is almost forgotten, that has been burnt, literally burnt, when medicine women have been burnt throughout this world. But this is medicine. That's the thing. This is medicine because, it's when you live like that, when you little by little you have these experiences, you begin to understand, oh, I can live this way with myself and with the nature. And nature, you find it everywhere. If you're in Sacramento, if you're in the area, it doesn't matter. The nature is everywhere, right? The Mother Earth and the Father Sky are always there hugging you. And the trees are always there, all interconnected. I had some people tell me that they had this experiences kind of connecting to this great manzanita, and then realizing that the trees, they communicate and they talk with each other. So when they hug trees somewhere else, they could tap into like this, like that manzanita came through.
Mm,
So it's almost like
beautiful.
they realize now, oh, I essentially I can be connected to that state of being no matter where I am. And the more I train my nervous system and my attention to soothe and to find this anchor of the body that is always here, as long as it is, that gift that we can anchor into, then I can also see how it begins to improve my health. So it's not that I'm sure maybe there are some people who are doing research in a way that is accepted by the mainstream science. They're doing the protocols and they're doing the trials and all of that and collecting the data. Um, and I'm sure it's going to be coming out and it's going to be, we are going to be just really intellectually understanding that, oh my goodness, that this is the medicine, being in such presence and relationship to the self and the mother nature. It's regulatory in the physical level, to the physical body, to the hormonal body, in a way that, people ask me, how old are you? I say I'm 44 years old. And they're like, oh, you're kidding me. And my life has been very stressful. I had 3 immigrations in my life. I had all kinds of things going on. But that's the power of
Wow.
present. That's the power of being present.
I'm so looking forward to this in just one week. Yes, next Saturday.
Next Saturday, yes, join us. Join us. I'm sure you will really appreciate it. I think we should stop, right? The recording.
Yeah.
It's like a nice
Hmm.
cut point.
Yeah.